Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a first impressions video for you on this Sharp by Design mini Tempest. You can see Brian Nadeau's maker mark right there. You can also see this is the clip point version with the blue carbon fiber. There were obviously, I guess maybe not everyone will know, but there were a bunch of options available. You did have to get in on a pre-order, and I didn't get in on that pre-order, so I was really kicking myself. So I am really stoked to get my hands on this, and more stoked now that I actually do have my hands on it, have been able to kind of get to know this knife a little bit. It is so well done. All right, so let me give you a quick rundown of the features here, and then we'll get to size and my initial thoughts about this. So starting off with the blade, we've got M390 hand rubbed clip point, nice fuller swale here, and a interesting top swedge there. So a lot of stuff going on this blade, and somehow this blade manages to really balance out interesting details and be visually compelling while still being sort of plain-ish. It's just such a great implementation here, just beautiful. I will say this is my favorite blade shape of these. There was also like a tanto and a drop point, I believe. The drop point just doesn't seem to, I don't know. Anyway, you probably have a drop point. Someone watching this probably has one and is going, Kev, what are you talking about? This is the best one. Anyway, purely subjective here, but I've got to say, I think the clip point looks the best, and that hand rubbed satin is absolutely gorgeous. Come on, focus you. Look at that. Come on, I said, there we go. Absolutely beautiful. Moving on, I could just stare at this blade for the longest time. It is so nicely done. Okay, moving on from this gorgeous M390 blade, I should say I like the thickness of this blade as well as the design of it and the finish of it. Moving down here, we've got a bearing pivot with Brian's decorative pivot, although notice that they've added a Torx bit hole on the lock side, which is a really nice touch, and I have had to tighten this up since I first got it. The pivot, it is on bearings, and it is so smooth. Look at this. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, great. Really nice action here. The detent is just ideally dialed in. So I have to say, Ria gets a lot of credit for getting that right, and I'm sure Brian is quite specific with his expectations, and they have absolutely delivered. This is a front flipper, and normally I'm not in love with front flippers, but this one is so fidgety and so comfortable and so smooth that it's really, again, I just am very impressed repeatedly with this knife. Further, these blue carbon fiber inlays, you really can't even feel where that transition takes place. It's so nicely finished. And look at the connection point here between the two scales. Look at that little thin line. Fit and finish is absolutely astounding on this knife. The other thing, and I kind of skipped over it, but I should come back because it's definitely worth noticing, is that exclusive Sharp by Design integrated detent system. So the way Brian does this is the detent mechanism, the detent, it's not a ball, it's kind of a detent ramp bump thing, is integrated into the lock bar insert. It's a great way to do this, and nothing feels quite like one of the knives that has this integrated detent. It is so good. Fairly Brian Nadeau feeling clip here. It's polished, which is definitely a nice touch. If this is not polished, if it's bead blasted or finished some other way, this clip is what's always getting beat up and bumping into everything. So it's nice to have a finish on it that's pretty, tough and long and durable, which is so the polished finish is perfect for that. I think that's all the features. There's no internal milling on this, just to point out, because the milling is external. All right, let me give you a quick rundown of size and weight before we move on from this. So 7 3/4 inches overall. So this is on the small side for knives that I like. However, listen to this, 3.5 inch blade, 3 3/4 inch grip area, and only 4 3/8 closed. That is very impressive. Like the blade to handle ratio on here is almost perfect. And I have to say this, um, this if there are very few, like a small handful of custom knife makers that I would buy a custom knife from if I, came into a substantial sum of money. Brian is on that list, and a Tempest would absolutely be the knife. Can you imagine this knife with a 4-inch blade, so another half inch of this absolutely perfect blade, but because the blade to handle ratio is so well done, you still would have a fairly compact package that wasn't this overwhelmingly gigantic thing that you were carrying around in your pocket. I mean, just the thought of it is so exciting to me. All right, sorry guys, I'm kind of digressing into fantasy land here, but I can just imagine a full-size Tempest in a similar form factor to this, and how fantastic it would be. Finally, the weight on this is only 3.36 ounces, which is not a big issue at all. So if you haven't figured it out by now, my first impressions on this is very, very good. I don't know why I didn't get in on the pre-order. It was dumb, but I'm glad that I have remedied that. It it's such a well done knife, and it's just, yeah. The finishes are great. The overall design is great. There's enough visual interest here to make it cool and compelling, yet it's not like overwhelming or obnoxious. Um, just really, really well done. And if you don't do it now, follow Brian, and whatever knife he comes up with next. I will say the void, like the mini void that they did, that genuinely was too small for me. So I would not, I wouldn't go to that one. But I do love the void design. If there was a larger one, I would be really, really wanting to get my hands on that. Anyway, this is the Mini Tempest, and even though it's called mini, it's still definitely a full-size knife, and a knife that I absolutely love. So if you get a chance to get this, or whatever the next thing Brian does, you definitely want to get in on that. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will talk to you soon.